Good evening, everybody. I've got an exciting announcement in store for you, so let's not wait and begin this episode of FIM Fiction Roulette, a series where I go through the annals of FIM fiction, take a random story and a random chapter from within said story, if applicable, and read it aloud for all of you to hear. Before I begin our story, I wanted to tell all of you that I will be hosting my first ever panel at HarmonyCon on Saturday the 14th at 7:15 p.m. The panel is Collaborative Bad Fanfic Reading, where I've got a fun bad fanfic I found, made some scripts, and we'll have a good time reading it together. Also, I will be joined by some of my best friends who made the art and music for my channel. If you're going to be at HarmonyCon, which you should if you can, come by, say hi, and join in on the antics. Now enough self-promotion, and on to the story of the day. A comedy that focuses on comic writers whose editor is giving them some sort of insane task for what they'll be writing. Sounds like a 60s sitcom, and I'm hooked. I'm excited to see what sort of hijinks is going on in this fanfic. As always, we'll start with the introduction, then head into our selected chapter, this one being right in the middle. Without further ado, this is The Mandate by Maud on Death. Mr. Bates, editor at Trot Comics, has had just enough from his staff. Having a bad morning, he wakes up to find that his employees are apparently incompetent and pampered, so he decides to do the unthinkable, make an editorial mandate for his writers. Now the writers have to come up with stories for these mandates without ruining their careers. How will they be able to save not only their jobs, but also their integrity? And now, Chapter 6. Criminals, however, pay a lot. Sound and Cloverbud were busy that morning. With Pepperoni currently in jail, the two of them needed to run the restaurant. He'd been the one that always ran it by himself, and it's a miracle how he was able to do so. "How did Dad manage all this?" Sound asked as he got the ovens prepped. "This is his passion. He was always good with cooking and somehow knew how to get it done quickly," Bloomhart said as she prepared the silverware. "Now when you have an order, you have to write it down fast, use one of the balls of dough, and place the order list on top of the oven that's baking it. I know this stuff, Mom. I've lived in this place all my life." "I know. It's just the first time you've ever run the place on your own. It's either been your father or me, and I won't be able to get to you today with the surgery." Bloomhart fumbled with a pizza cutter, catching it before it landed on the ground. She took a deep breath and told herself that everything was going to be fine. "Say, what do the ponies at work think about you not coming in right now?" "They're pretty accepting of the situation. After all, it's not every day that your boss gets your dad put in jail. Not only that, but every pony is doing planning for their stories right now, so they don't need me immediately. I'll be fine running this place until he gets out." Sound started pushing her mother out the door. "Now go and help with your life-saving job while I keep the family business going. Don't bother checking in if you can. I'll probably be busy with all the customers." Sound pushed her out and shut the door before her mother could say anything. Now what do I do? Queso and Trace were just about in the middle of their books on modern politics when they couldn't take it anymore. They'd spent the last 2 days non-stop reading about economic policies and social issues without getting any work done. "Joe, we can't do this," Tress screamed out. "I have no idea how we can combine our superheroes with politics when we don't know much about politics." "Yeah, I think you may have a point." Joe threw back his book on political economy and said, "It honestly looks like we won't be able to do this accurately." I know. I mean, how can you do a comic about politics if you don't give a comprehensive explanation and understanding of policies, reasons, and the characters who hold them?" Joe thought through Tress's dilemma and came up with an answer. "Maybe we don't." "Huh?" "Tress, think about it. How many ponies do you know that fully understand the complete political world with all of its consequences, policies, complex cultural issues, and economics?" "Absolutely none," Tress replied confidently. "Exactly. We should use that to our advantage. Make the heroes fight for political ideas and policies that they don't fully understand. Ponify them a bit by showing some understandable weaknesses." "Awesome!" Tress was finally on board with Joe's plan, but then realized something. "Hey, Joe." "What?" "What pony should hold that position? And on what kind of policies? Also, why do they suddenly get involved with politics? Joe tried to reply, but didn't know how to answer. I'm not completely sure yet. Let's work on what characters we'll use and analyze them to see how they'd react to something. I'm not sure yet on what's a popular political subject. As the two worked on deciding what heroes they'd picked, Burnson and Red tried to work together. So, Sound said that we'd try to make the story about Jinchiro becoming a warrior princess of a tribe. While that does sound like a place we could start, her ideas on how she'd become a princess were a bit... Burnson hesitated, saying, weird. What does that mean? Red inquired. She said that Jinchiro could read a magic book and suddenly become an alicorn, Burry replied, placing his hoof on his face when he said this. That sounds dumb. Also, it sounds like a definitive deus ex machina. Barry was surprised by Red's vocabulary. Yeah, needless to say, we're not doing it. I was thinking of something more along the lines of some generic mutation of sorts, but I'm wondering how that could work. Maybe you could do a thing where you destroy Face Fist's nuclear cannon, and she becomes irradiated, causing the mutation. When she gains the horn, she also finds herself starting to use magic, leading to a later saga where a villain creates alicorns with that method. Red, that's awesome. We could totally do that. Red kept on surprising Burnson. He'd always thought that he must be unintelligent because he worked on Hayfield's story. Apparently he was pretty good at creating his own. Yeah, I know how awesome I am. Red was feeling pretty bold at that moment. Also, here's my practice art on Jinchiro. Hope you like it. Oh boy. 3,000? 3 freaking thousand. Poppads yelled as she left the courtroom. There's no way I can afford that. Yeah, I'm pretty much screwed as well, AC added, wondering how many songs he'd need to write before he could afford it. Was all Pepperoni said. This might be more difficult than I thought. What gave you that fucking clue? Poppads yelled at him. Never should have listened to you. Now I'll have to spend a whole lot just to be free of a crime we didn't commit. We also have to pay for the bail bond, an additional 300, meaning that we almost total 10,000 bits. Where the hey can we find that money? Well, I know of one place, Pepperoni said. This is that I have to personally be at the bank to make a withdrawal from there. That or be dead. Couldn't you just make your wife make the withdrawal? AC asked as the three were ushered back to their cell. Nope, I have to be the one to make this withdrawal. It's a very secure account. He looked around and waited until the guards had put them back in their holding cell before continuing. Look, you know how I sometimes bet on races. Yeah? Well, turns out I'm good at it. Really good. Actually, I'm also good at running smaller betting pools. It was small at first, but started growing. I now get a cut of all bets and even have several ponies that work with me to run it. The two were surprised at what Pepperoni was telling them. I also have ponies that help collect for me, and right now there's some pony that owes me a whole lot. 10,000 to be exact. I'm usually lenient with payments, but it's an emergency, so I'll call it in. Mr. Pepperoni, sir, is this legal? AC finally asked. I have no idea, he replied honestly. I mean, is it illegal to set up gambling rings and have Minotaur enforcers? He thought for a moment before saying, Probably. So you make the call, collect the money, have them pay our bail, and that's it? Poppads asked. Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for me, you guys wouldn't be here in the first place. I'll pay for it all. Poppads called out for one of the guards, asking if he could make a phone call. After being let out, he typed in a mysterious number. This is Mr. Thess. What seems to be the problem? A deep voice asked. Hello, Thess. This is Mr. Pepperoni. Sir, I'm sorry. Didn't know it was you. Sorry if I sounded gruff. No problem. Listen, I'm going to need you to contact the recent pony that seemed to move away and get what I was promised. Like, in whole. I have a problem, and I'll need you to come to the police station. Oh, another thing. If you can't actually find her, get Mr. Bates. I don't know where he is, but I know you already know where the other pony is, so do whatever you want. Honestly, I just need one or the other. See you." Pepperoni placed down the phone and was escorted back to his cell. "Don't worry, guys. My guy's on the case." Pepperoni's pizza was on fire. The oven spewing out flames. Every pony was galloping toward the exit while Sound tried to put out the fire. "Hold on, every pony. I'll be finished with this in a moment." Sound grabbed the fire extinguisher and threw it at the fire. Well, I guess that didn't work. She then flew out of the restaurant while it turned to ashes. Bloomheart watched in horror as their home was destroyed. "Sound, what happened?" she asked. "I decided to stuff the microwave with tinfoil. I guess that wasn't a good plan." Sound shrugged and flew away, the flames behind her growing and engulfing the entire town. "Everything is burning!" some pony yelled out. Soon the fire was spreading too fast and furiously to be stopped. It soon spread to the Everfree Forest, then Manhattan, and then engulfed Equestria, followed by the entire world. "If only I hadn't left Sound alone at the restaurant," Bloomheart cried out, floating in space. Gah! Bloomheart woke up from her nap, Kathy and Tina looking surprised by her wake-up. "Well, looks like you didn't sleep well," Tina commented. "I just dreamt that Sound burned down the restaurant, followed by the entire world." "Well, that's a bit extreme," Kathy said. Bloomheart looked at the clock and was surprised by what time it was. I guess my shift's over. I better clock out and check on Sound." "Good luck," the two said as Bloomheart grabbed her stuff and left. Bloomheart's thoughts were racing as she went home. She thought of all the horrible things that could have happened while she was gone. When she arrived home, she went inside and saw the restaurant busy, Sound in the back. "I have 2 large cheese," she yelled. 2 ponies came forward and grabbed the boxes. Sound then went back and placed another pizza in the oven. Bloomheart went over into the kitchen and decided to help out. "Wow, this place is running well," she commented. "Duh. I told you this place would run well with me. I've been helping you guys since I was 5. Sound set the timer for that pizza and rested for a moment to talk with her mother. "So, busy day?" "Yeah, the surgery was longer than expected. Almost lost him at some point. Never thought a nose job could kill." Bloomheart took a seat, tired from her nap. "Sound, I got to apologize. I thought you were going to burn down the place for a moment." "Don't worry. You're a mother. That's kind of your job to do. Anyway, I could use some help with the dishes. You mind doing that?" "Sure." The two went back into their positions, both feeling proud in their own way. Well, that was pretty fun. I loved how it kept jumping from one group to another. It really kept me on my toes. An exciting jumping in point, too. Several ponies in jail, several struggling over their writing, all the while families are trying to keep their home together. I was quite surprised by that dream sequence. Thought it was real for a moment. I'll tell you one thing, though, this has definitely got me hooked. How did they get here, and how are they going to get out of this predicament? I will most assuredly be finding out soon. My question for you, my dear viewers, is, do you think that the pepperoni was vegan? This was The Mandate. Thank you, Mod on Death, for making such a wonderful story. The link will be in the description below. And thank you, listeners, for joining me on this exciting adventure. This is Open Air, signing off. But don't worry, I'll be back soon with another FIM Fiction Roulette. Also, make sure to come to the panel at HarmonyCon. Write it down fast, use one of the balls of dough, then place the order list on top of the oven that's baking it. I know this stuff, Mom. I've lived in this place all my life.